Are you ready to look at what's inside? Oh my gosh, I can hardly wait. I've seen some sneak peeks by now, but I want to see what is included. Oh, look at that. So here we have a beautiful Christmas tree. And I love that this is like a double layer. This is very clever. I don't know why they did it this way, but I kind of like it. Okay. Okay. Get rid of this. And here we have the dies. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, so we have the dies to create a Christmas tree, and it's a 3-tier tree. Beautiful. And then we have a little die to add some trimmings, a star for the top, and then this. I wonder what this is. This looks like a dancing component. No, it's not. It's an ornament topper. I thought it kind of looked similar to, a little die from the dancing die, like from the dancing collection from Spellbinders, but this opening needs to be a little larger for that. So it's not that. Never mind that. It's an ornament topper so that you can add this behind your die cut tree, add some thread and hang it on a Christmas tree.
Hello everyone, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my video. I kind of failed to do an introduction at the beginning of this video just because I filmed the opening of the windows all at once and I didn't want to do an introduction for every single one, so that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it now. You are watching the unboxing of the 12 Days of Stitchmas Advent Calendar from Spellbinders. It is their brand new Advent Calendar. They've never done anything like this before. Spellbinders has done an Advent Calendar last year. It was a crafty Advent Calendar, and there is a crafty Advent Calendar this year as well with 24 different surprises, but there's also this special stitching advent calendar with 12 different surprises, and you are watching day one. Day one, we have this beautiful Christmas tree, and I went ahead and I die cut mine from Spellbinders Peridot cardstock. So this tree has 3 layers, making it the perfect size for an A2 card. But if you want, you can make it into a smaller tree by using just 2 layers. And what this gives you is, this also gives you the ability to create a little scene. For instance, you can have one tree that has 3 layers and then another tree next to it that's just a little bit smaller with 2 layers. I'm adding a little bit of ink blending to my tree, and I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Perfection ink. It's my favorite green ink, but you can add the ink blending and shading using whatever green ink you like. I feel like ink blending adds a little bit more interest and detail to this die cut. When I put this tree together without the stitching, you can already see how fun that looks and how that ink blended detail pops and looks awesome on this card. Next, I'm going to do some stitching, and for stitching, I'm using thread number 907 from DMC, and this thread coordinates with the Spellbinders Rainforest cardstock, so it's just a shade darker. I'm almost doing tone on tone, but not quite. It's a little bit darker than my cardstock. I'm cutting a little bit of thread, and I'm going to use just 2 strands. You can use 2 or 3. I typically try not to stitch with all 6 strands, as that looks, for my taste, it looks a little bit too bulky, but I mean, you can do 6 if you like that kind of look. You can also do a different color of thread if you want, for example, gold or silver or some other specialty color thread if you prefer. I'm adding the trimmings to my tree, and I die cut the trimmings from gold glitter cardstock, and I'm adhering them using the Bearly Arts glue to my green die cuts. And with all of the pieces adhered, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this Christmas tree. This is very simple, very easy to stitch. I'm just tying my thread into a knot on the back, and I'm going to do simple long stitches for this die cut. There are die cut holes, and there are also lines on your die cut that tell you where the stitching needs to go. And even if you're still unsure how to do your stitching, you can refer to the image printed on your advent calendar, and that kind of gives you an example of how the die needs to be assembled and how it needs to be stitched. I'm also adding a little bit of yellow tape. This is the narrow tape from the back to secure my loose thread and in place. So I've stitched all of the layers and I'm going to assemble them. First, I'm adding the gold glitter star at the top of my tree. Love it. And next, I'm going to use glue to adhere all of the layers together. So here my tree is nice and ready and I love the way this looks. I'm just going to add my ornament topper because I do want this as an ornament on my card. As for my card, I went ahead and I used Spellbinders Forest cardstock to create an arch-shaped card base using the Essential Arches dies. These have been my favorite dies this year. I just love that, unusual arch shape. And I have foiled the Season's Greetings sentiment at the bottom. I used the matte gold foil, and this sentiment comes from my Christmas collection from Yana's Delightful Christmas. I have also added a panel of white cardstock to the inside of my card because this dark green is rather dark and it would be kind of difficult to write a sentiment on it, so I added a panel of white. My plan is to add my Christmas tree ornament in the center, and I don't want to adhere it in place. I am going to just tie it onto my card. Now to do that, I'm marking where the opening for the ornament topper is, and I'm using my hole punch. I've not used it in years. So I'm using my hole punch to punch a hole in the card, and I'm going to use that hole to tie the ornament onto my card. So again, not going to use any adhesive. I want the recipient to be able to take the ornament off of the card and use the ornament, as a Christmas decoration somewhere. I'm using gold thread. This is the DMC metallic thread, and I'm tying it into a knot to attach the Christmas tree to my card. This thread is a little bit tricky because it is metallic. It doesn't want to stay put. So I'm using Spellbinders tweezers to help me hold that knot in place while I work on tying a bow. And this is done. Next, I want to add a couple of sequins, and here I'm using the Spellbinders Aura sequins. These are my favorite sequins because this color, it works with pretty much everything, and I use them a lot. These are my most used sequins because they go well together with pretty much everything. I'm adding a couple of sequins and basically scattering them around my Christmas tree just to add some interest to the background of this card. This is a very clean, a very simple card. It's very modern, and I felt like something was missing from a background, but I also did not want to create a very complicated background, so I was able to get away by using these sequins. And here's a look at the finished card. The Christmas tree ornament is removable, and the recipient can easily untie it and use it separately on their Christmas tree. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.